Hey everyone, welcome to Zen and Tech, our weekly podcast focused on centering your inner geek and using technology to help you deal with the stresses of your connected life. I'm Rene, and your host for the show is Georgia. Before we begin, I just want to remind you that while Georgia is a therapist, she is not your therapist. Everything said or implied in this episode is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and shouldn't be taken in any way as a replacement for personal, professional care. Georgia, welcome back.
It's good to be back. It's good to be able to do another Zen and Tech after a little while.
Yeah, well, you followed your own advice. You put yourself first, and you took a little vacation. You took some self-time.
That is exactly what I did.
So what is the topic for this evening?
Well, it is how to use your tech to make your holiday travels easier. So it's our holiday tech travel guide.
So just because we did an episode on how to survive the holidays and we had a couple people write in and say, yes, surviving the holidays is nice, but I've got to drive in a car there first with two screaming kids and an annoying husband, all right, spouse, let's not be specific, an annoying spouse. How do I survive that? You decided to kind of go back a step and help them out.
Right. And there's a lot of ways that you can use your tech to make traveling easier. So we went through the things that you should definitely bring and the things that you may not need to bring and the manner in which to do it.
And I think it's important because some things might sound like good ideas, but when you actually put them into practice, they could have unforeseen consequences and results. So it's good to really think these things through first.
You definitely do. You definitely do. So when we traveled, actually, we decided not to bring our iPad. That was one big step.
That's interesting because
I travel with my iPads everywhere.
Yeah, an iPad is kind of marketed towards traveling, easy to use in airplanes, a big screen for the back seat.
Right.
What made you leave it behind?
Its size, the fact that it has a large chance of getting stolen, does not fit into the small safe that come into the rooms. So it would just actually be more of a liability than something that would be easy to deal with it. So we did iPhones and iPads,
So
iPods.
sorry, before you go on, the
instead.
stress of taking care of it would outweigh the benefits of having it with you.
Exactly.
Okay. So what did you take instead?
So it was iPods and iPhones.
Nice. Now, why
And it
both?
worked out
Why not
perfectly.
just iPhones?
Well, because I have little ones, so what I wanted to do is they have their own iPods and they don't have to mess with my phone. And because we wouldn't have data, we didn't feel like dealing with the data plan. And plus, I really did want to cut off a little bit during the holiday season. We just downloaded a whole bunch of games and different things that would be interesting and fun. And we'll mention some of those as well. And yeah.
So is it important to split up, like to kind of almost dissect what you'll be doing? Like if there is a car trip involved and a plane ride and the destination you're going to kind of think through all the different situations that you're going to need and then try to address them individually?
You can definitely do that. I think that a great way is to take a look at one of our guides just so that you can take a look at, what we found that's been useful or not, just because not because we're any more knowledgeable, but just because we have probably tried and or reviewed a whole bunch of the things that are on the market, and some of them work out great, and some of them not so much. Yeah.
So for an example, we went through the different devices, like you mentioned, iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, and kind of gave the sweet spot for where each of them fit, like why you might want to consider an iPod Touch over an iPad.
Right. Right.
And then even little things like you did a review of the Chemotix dual mobile charging kit, and there are several kinds of dual chargers. And the nice thing with this is if you're doing a car trip, for example, if you're going to see the family or you're going to a theme park, and there's 4 of you in the car and only one USB outlet to charge a device, that might lead to some contention.
And that was one of the chargers that we used and really enjoyed. So the creatures could charge in the back together at the same time, and no one really had to worry and or fight about it because it was a little bit of a long drive. So it made it really easy.
And even if you're with your spouse, I mean, you might be charging your device to use navigation with, so you don't want to take that out. But her device or his device is getting low, and they're going to want to start plugging. And instead of having to have any stress at all about it, you just plug another device in.
Exactly. What else I wanted to ask you, Rene, is that what kind of a message do you usually leave? Because the one thing that I didn't do that I wish that I had was leave a reminder message to people that might email me that I am on holiday. I think that's like great to have.
So I guess the answer for me is it depends. Like when I worked at a regular 9 to 5 enterprise job, I had the standard exchange message. Rene is out of the office from this date to that date. If you're calling about marketing activities, please contact this person. If you're calling for support, contact this person. For general inquiries, here's the main switchboard.
And add a link to the other people so it's one click
Yes.
to deal with them.
But I've never thought about doing it for personal vacations. But I think that's a really smart idea because people sometimes get upset that you haven't answered them, even though you're completely out of contact.
Well, when it comes down to stress, if someone knows there's a certain period of time that you are not going to be there, then they feel their stress levels go down because they understand why you're not responding. But even for a friend, they might get worried. You might not have told them that you're going away. And then they might actually be worried about you that there's something wrong, and that could cause a lot of issues. So I think that it's a good idea to always let people know when you're going away. If you feel like, again, it's a certain amount, you don't want people to know that your house is, free to pilfer as well. So you have to think about where you're going. And I always say, give yourself an extra day. So don't give, the date as if you're coming back on the 18th, don't put down the 18th, put it as, the 19th or the 20th, just so that you have some room space because you never know what might happen to you. And you need a couple of days to recover from a vacation anyways.
And also, like, I get, and you're similar because of Tippy, like the iPhone blog, we get hundreds, if not several hundreds of emails a day, and it's just not humanly possible to answer all of them. So I have learned is that famous saying we have that other people's expectations aren't my obligations. So I try to address any human-generated email as much as I can, but I will triage and answer the most important ones like friends, family, colleagues first, and then work my way through as I can. And if I have to declare bankruptcy, especially after a trip or something, if it's really important, I figure they'll write me again.
I think that's also a really good point to make if you are ever sending emails out to any other person or company. To make it as personalized as possible will increase the chances that someone will respond to you. If I'm getting it and they don't even A, know my name, or B, ever visit the site, it just lessens the chances that I'm going to spend the time in reading the email because there's so many to filter through.
It's actually a saying we have, if it doesn't look like a human wrote it, there's very low chance a human's going to read it.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
For the kids, we got this amazing, this is from Griffin, and this is called the Woogie. Now, this, I loved it when I saw it, and I love it even more now. I have to say, it's absolutely adorable. I'm just going to put something on it that would be cute to see on it. So the Woogie is a soft, plushy toy. Here he is. And he's great for the kids. One is he protects the iPod. And two is that you can still play with your iPod through it. And because, a little bit hard to slide all the way though, probably more of my angle. And then what he has is there's weighted feet. So we actually put him on the back of the headrest of the car, and then he could be used so that the kids could watch. And then after he can be cuddled and cared about. And it was a lot of fun, a nice way that you will not lose your iPod because, which is not actually mentioned, but because he's so big and, well, this one's pink, he's easy to find. So the iPod as well is easy to find.
It's the Brett the Hitman heart of iPad accessories. Pink and black attack.
It's really cute. I like them. I think that's a great buy for someone.
Yeah, especially for a young person because, they can cuddle with it, play with it, keep it next to them. It's actually really popular. It's a good choice for a young child.
Yeah, and it won't break. It's like the protective level is like up there with an OtterBox for sure.
Oh no, absolutely.
Or more.
Now, one of the things that I have found invaluable when traveling is something like the Mophie juice pack. It's something that will recharge your iPhone. There's a lighter version, the Air, which will recharge it about 70%, and the Plus, which is bulkier, it is heavier, but it will almost fully recharge your iPhone. And if I'm traveling, I never know for certain. Sometimes you get in a situation where you can't get to an electrical outlet or a charger. And not to have to watch that battery drain and know there's nothing you can do about it is very stress relieving for me. I can just put on the Mophie juice pack, keep using my iPhone, charge them both at night because the charge will pass through. And I sometimes carry two of them with me, frankly, just so I know I'm going to get as much, because like during the day, you plug your iPhone and you charge it. But when I'm on, especially if I'm at a convention or something, I'm walking around all day and the iPhone is the only device I'm using, and I'm using it for everything. So traveling, you're taking a lot of photos, taking a lot of video, doing all like looking for restaurants, using maps, navigation. You really want something that'll keep your iPhone or iPod Touch charged.
Yes, exactly that. Another thing that we used was the Aqua Pack, because we knew that we would be for the sand, sun, and water. And you could say we have a lot of Overboard versus Aqua Pack. I have to say they're both exceptionally well. The Aqua Pack, this one that we have, is a little bit bigger, so we're able to put some money, a card in it, plus a phone. So we had a little bit of everything, but we forgot to bring the lanyard with us. So
Ouch.
Here we go, our totally lame little
No, that's
string
do it
to
yourself,
make sure
man.
it
That's
doesn't get
awesome.
lost. Yes, do it yourself. Yeah, what you happen to have with you at the time. So bring your lanyard. That would
But
also
that's
be good.
amazing. I mean, you could go on a water slide with that or go diving with that. It'd be fantastic.
And even if you're not going to go by water, just the sand or even the salt air is not great for or a very humid environment is not great for your phone. So it will protect it along with your money. And so you don't have to worry about it. You put them all together. They're there. And we actually mate with the Aqua Pack because it's all clear. We put it so that with the money and it would all move down and we could still take photos and never take the phone out. And so you didn't have to worry about it.
And I would say that even if you are not going to the beach, you just want to relax in the jacuzzi or the hot tub or whatever, you can do that and play your games, read your books, surf the web without have to worrying about it.
So when you're vacationing, you want to keep all of the things that are important to you actually on you. Like you don't want to leave your wallet in your bag and you're in the pool and your wallet is somewhere else. Yeah. Even if someone's there suntanning, it is a smart idea to actually have you with it. So I would say absolutely essential would be the Aqua Pack or, of course, the Overboard.
Or you can get a life-proof. I mean, if you're a little bit less worried, you want something smaller, you could get like a life-proof case. Or the nice thing with the Aqua Pack, though, is it works for any device. It doesn't have to be iPhone size. It can be like a larger-sized Android. It can be a smaller.
Or your phone. Or your camera.
Yes.
And you can put your money in it as well. If you're using something like a waterproof case, which is great, but this you can put some other things in it. You can put some money in it. We've already done the testing. We know that these babies will keep your phone secure. So when I used it, because we've tested them to such extremes.
You put it in the dishwasher. You've put them through pools. You've put them through the car wash. 30
down and underwater, car washes. We know that they'll actually stay resistant and you don't have to worry about it. So that was great.
Takes that burden off your back.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, you had mentioned for when we did the holiday guides, you mentioned some clothing that would be good so that you didn't have to carry your tech around with you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a fairly well-known company, Scotty Vest, and they make a variety of travel clothes. And a lot of the airlines are real douchebags lately, and they want you to pay for every little bit of luggage that you bring on. I mean, I think if you bring on a sunglass case, they're going to charge you $30 to have the sunglass case on. So what this is, these are jackets. They have everything from really light jackets with a few pockets to larger jackets with just tons and tons of pockets. And you could almost use one as a carry-on bag. They have the larger jackets have room for an iPad in them or a Galaxy Tab in them. Easily fit a playbook or an Amazon Kindle Fire. You have room for wallets, for secret pockets for your passport. You can run speakers through them. They are excellent travel clothes. And just being able to keep it all with you, again, it makes you not have to worry about carrying that extra bag around.
Right. There's also something new, a new small company that's bringing out with, it's just a sleeve. It's like a sty sleeve. I'll put the link of what they're called. And we're doing a review on them. Sorry, I put down review there. And so it's just a sleeve, which you can keep your phone on you. And then it frees up your hands so that you can end up taking a look, checking your mail, and your hands are free, especially if you're traveling with little ones. It makes it really nice because so you can grab, you don't have to worry. If you have two, you can grab both of them at the same time. And again, it's all about lowering your stress while you're traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that you don't have to worry about, like you said in the mental decluttering episode, everything you can take off of you and put onto a shelf is one less thing you have to carry around.
Right. Right, exactly as so. And we also got some games. Like we decided that we might as well download some new games so that, for certain periods of time, so the kids would be comfortable. And if we were bored, we would also have something to do because, especially when you're traveling, sometimes you're spending a lot of time in the car or not doing anything. So I tried out a whole bunch of games, which is interesting because I usually don't have, while I'm working, a whole bunch of time to play different games. So
Now, the thing that you
my
said, though, that I think is important first is that you downloaded these before you left because you weren't certain of your data connection later. So you made sure
yes.
that the stuff that you thought about bringing with you, you loaded up at home before you left.
Yes, yes. Download it somewhere else. We also used Navigon to travel with, and also we made sure to download the proper maps. It does not have all of the maps already in it, of course, because it would be huge. Um, but we used that in order to travel so that we didn't have to use data. It uses the GPS, and then it's
It's
already the
off-board,
maps.
it's onboard maps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it does take a little bit of time. So make sure that you plan that beforehand. Except for one thing, we also made a stop in Florida and did not have a map for there. We had forgotten that that's where we would have traveled. So make sure that you take a look at any of the places that you might even go and load them beforehand. That'll
Yeah.
save you a lot of stress.
Yeah. So what games did you try?
Okay, well, I really loved A Breaker. It's Amazing Breaker, and it is just very, very simple. What you have to do is you just take these little tiny bombs and you try to break these little glass images. It's here, I'll just show. I'm going to see if this will work. There we go. And you just keep on doing that. You keep on pulling back and moving different items.
You're breaking the donut.
Exactly. And so it was, oh, sorry. And it was a lot of fun. So it was a very simple, fun game, enjoyable, and anyone can do it. And then there was from Disney Mobile, Where's the Water, which is a very popular game right now in the App Store and was a lot of fun. And all you have to do is, I'll show you, is take some water and give it to a poor little alligator that's sitting in the bathtub. Don't
The
ask.
nice things about these kinds of games, and I mean like the puzzle games in general, you have the Angry Birds that cuts the ropes, is that they're not that involved. You can pick them up and use them for a few minutes when you have the time. And they're kind of like what you said in the episode on sleep, is that they're busy enough to keep you occupied, but not so busy that you start to worry about them.
Well, I didn't want anything that would be stressful. I didn't want anything that I would feel worried about leaving. So anything that I'm going to have to take care of something would have been too much for me. I wanted something that wouldn't matter the age range and that would be fun and easy to pick up, easy to put down, exactly as you said. So these games worked out really well for that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it's important to kind of choose, like to know the kind of stuff you're going to take with you and to make sure that you have something that's going to kind of suit the mood for your trip.
Now, Renee, is there any applications that you take? Because you're usually doing a lot of work with, you're going to have to edit, take a look, take photos of anything. What do you make sure that's on your phone?
Well, I mean, like first, there's some travel apps that I use just because I don't want to have to remember anything that I have to remember is something that I'm going to perseverate about, which means it's something that's going to add to my stress. So, for example, I use TripIt. The minute I get a confirmation email for a hotel or for a plane, I immediately email it to the TripIt address. It adds it to my itinerary. It goes right into the apps, and it includes all the information like maps of the hotels, flight information. It'll show you if there's been delays. It takes so much of the burden off of air travel,
Right.
that I really recommend it. And I mean, there's other stuff too. Like you can have Yelp with you if you want to start finding stuff while you're traveling. Foursquare if you want to. I mean, Foursquare is really a location-based game, but it's an easy way to check into places. If you want to remember where you're going, like I went to this restaurant, I went to there, it'll keep almost like a log record of
Oh,
your
that's a
trip
nice way
for
to
you.
use it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I used to
That's a
use
great idea.
Koala for this, but that got bought by Facebook, so I'll probably use Foursquare for the next one. And like I said, yeah, I don't use it when I'm at home because I don't need people to know where I am. But when I'm traveling, I like to keep that sort of
What
a
we
record.
also what we also did was because you should always, if you're traveling with your passports, you should always have a copy of all of your personal documents with you. And they say to print them out. So what we did was we took photos of all of our personal documents and then sent them securely to a friend so you can encode them, send them down, and then you have a copy of all of your personal documents also on you. And then if something unfortunate happens, at least you have that, so it will be easier.
I also put a copy of
Treat-
mine in Dropbox so that if I need to, I can go to a computer and log in and get it.
Oh, that's a great idea. So in case
Yeah.
your phone is taken, that's why we email it so that
Yeah.
it'll be, we can log into our email exactly like a
perfect.
Dropbox. We can find certain things that we need and, delete them afterwards if you so feel that that would make you more comfortable.
Now, is there anything that you took that you might have regretted taking or anything that might have had consequences you didn't originally envisage, like something that either took too much time or ended up distracting from your trip?
Right. Well, I think that the one mistake that we made was letting the little ones use the iPods for too great of a time. Because what ended up happening is we'd placed all of these amazingly fun games on their iPods, and that's all they wanted to do was to play with their iPods. They didn't want to do any of the, they wanted to do the excursions, but they didn't want to hang out with any of the other kids and or play. They wanted to go back to their iPods and have fun. And because of that, we learned pretty quickly that it's like, okay, no more iPods on the trip because you're not going to experience anything else because you're so stuck on playing this game. So I have to say, limit really exciting tech so that they have some sort of other experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you define those boundaries early on, they won't give you a hassle when you try to change things on them later. Because I've always found that, it's easier to set a pattern from the start than to try to change them midpoint through.
Once you make a rule, stand by it 100% of the time and explain to them why. We were straight. We're just like, you're not going to do anything else except for play with this, and you can play with this when we get home. So that's fair and fine.
So if you are getting ready to travel home for the holidays, if you're about to embark on the ski trip, if you are doing any sort of travel over the holidays, just take a minute, go back, listen to some of the shows. Georgia has shows on goal setting, so you can actually get yourself organized for your trip. She has the cluttering episodes. There's just a back catalog of episodes that will focus specifically on the stuff that she's been discussing here and give you more about any area that you're interested in.
The one thing that I didn't mention, and we didn't actually have to use, but if you're traveling with other people and you're going to be wanting to use your phone or listen to things or do some work, bring some earphones because no one else wants to hear anything else, and you might need to listen to something, and so that will allow you that freedom. So bring yourself some earphones if you can. Bring the ones from, I believe it's from Overboard, and they're waterproof.
And especially if there's more than one. I mean, if there's two kids in the back, spouse in the side seat, they're all going to be listening to different stuff. It could be a cacophony. But if everyone has their earphones, it's nice and quiet.
No sound.
Yeah.
No sound.
Yeah. But I mean, if they're watching a movie or something, it's nice for them to listen to it. So you put the headphones in and they're happy, they're listening, and you're happy, you're not.
Perfect.
Yeah. Everyone's happy.
That's that.
Georgia, where can we find out more about you?
You can find me on Twitter at GeorgiaTIPB. You can also find me on the website ZENandTECH.tv.
Nice. And you can find me at Rene Ritchie. You can find me at tippy.com, ZENandTECH.tv, and mobilenations.com for all of our shows. Georgia, thank you very much for another. I learn a lot from these episodes. I really, really find them. I don't always use the stuff you say in the episode immediately after, but I find like it just kind of, it stays with me and it resonates. And when I encounter these situations, I remember back. And there's like these really easy to implement tools to help me through it.
Exactly. And hopefully it'll make your experiences a little bit more calmer. And if I always have to think back to my strat, like I use them because they work. It's not like something that, I even have to think back, I'm feeling stressed. What am I not doing right now? So
and that's a good point. I mean, if you're sitting in a line at customs and you're stressed about getting through or making your flight, if you've got the kids crazy in the car, if there's a delay, if you miss something, go back to episode 1, do your breathing. I mean, that's one of the best things I found that helps me the most through almost everything.
Exactly. And yes, you can have a Aqua Pack or Overboard pack for your iPad.
Yep.
And you can use it
or your Galaxy Tab or whatever device you like.
Work with any device. So whatever you so want, you can put one in there and yeah.
All right, so just for people who do watch live, we're going to be doing this on Wednesdays for the next couple of weeks because the Sundays are going to be Christmas and New Year's, and we want to partay. So the show is on Wednesday tonight. It'll be next Wednesday. You can find all the shows at ZENandTECH.tv or mobilenations.com/shows. There's show notes there. There's the videos, because they're in video. You can watch Georgia demonstrate the accessories and the apps that she was talking about here. If you haven't already, please go to iTunes. Please subscribe to the show. Please leave a rating. It encourages iTunes to feature us. More people can find out about the show. And someone in the chat room was asking how they can suggest topics. Just email us, podcast@ZENandTECH.tv. Twitter us @ZENandTech, or leave a comment on the post when it goes live on the blog. We love your suggestions. A lot of the shows are actually created by the comments that we get.
And we would love to know what type of tech or what great tips you have for making traveling easier. And we'll put them up, make a comment. We'll put them up as well.
Your favorite apps.
Interesting to know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great night, Georgia. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for showing up every week. It means a lot to us.
You guys are awesome.